Up next, we'll show you how horses are helping to build young lives at an acclaimed California summer camp, Rawhide Ranch. Great Western wall art, photography, books, and more at todayswildwest.com. It's Friday afternoon at Rawhide Ranch in Southern California. Kids who've spent the week at this unique summer camp are showing off their new equestrian skills to their proud parents in the Grandstand. Some of whom may be watching in amazement. These young people confidently riding in this arena with only a bareback pad, no saddle, likely include some who'd never sat on a horse before they came to camp and may have been terrified of horses. Overcoming that fear and replacing it with self-confidence is just one of the profound lessons learned during a life-changing week at Rawhide.
You can't take that away from a kid. Nothing that you do in their life will take that away. That thought that, hey, I don't have to live my life being subject to the whims of what I'm afraid of. I can conquer things that I'm afraid of. That's a really good life skill. You've never heard of goat yoga? Oh, it's crazy.
Scott Coop, affectionately known here as simply Coop, is in charge of this oasis for children between the ages of 7 and 15. The 40-acre camp is just minutes away from busy Interstate 15 north of San Diego. But step inside the gate and it feels like you're a million miles away and 100 years back in time.
The adventure. It's that a kid now is transplanted into a place that speaks of adventure and of another time when, you know, life was really raw and real.
Rawhide Ranch is laid out like an Old West town with a bit of humor mixed in. And while it's of course fun, there's a reason for the Western ambiance.
It gives them a sense of environment that is just big enough for them. So they can come here and within the first couple of days that they're here, they really feel like Rawhide Ranch, this is a town and I live in this town. I know the streets, I know where each building is, I know where I'm supposed to go, what I'm supposed to do. It just has a very satisfying, freeing feeling in the kids. You see it as they walk down Main Street, as they just look around and see, hey, this is a place where I belong.
It's Old West 24/7 at Rawhide. The 160 campers spend their nights sleeping in a covered wagon camp, or in teepees at an Indian village, or perhaps in a tent at a cavalry fort. But come sunup, no one spends much time in their bunk.
It's very active. They sleep really well. They go to bed at 9 o'clock at night, you know.
Rawhide streets are deserted much of the day because everyone here is busy with activities. The rifle range, archery, climbing tower, just to name a few. And everyone learns to ride without using a saddle. It's not an easy way to learn, but a very effective one.
There's really a good way to do it, and then there's an easy way to do it. So we want to pick the good way. We want to pick a way to teach horsemanship that's going to last for them. So even though it's a lot more difficult for them to start and learn to do, once they master that, we've got little 7 and 8 and 9-year-old horsemen and horsewomen who are out there really learning how to ride. And so, yeah, it's difficult to do it like that, but once you master that, and because we take them by the hand, and we start real slow from square one, they can master that by the time they're done with that. So that, yes, it's harder, but by the time they earn their saddle, they've really done something significant, and they know that.
Kids work their way up the riding ranks, from ranch hand to buckaroo to wrangler, where they finally ride in a saddle. And for even more of a horseback challenge, there's equestrian vaulting, horseback gymnastics. Not easy.
It's really tough. It's the balance. I think that's like the hardest thing is just keeping balance. But I like the challenge. Even though it's not always perfect sometimes, I like just working at it and trying to get better at it, really.
Well, here's something we see often here. The kid first sees the instructor do it, and then they are told that they're going to do it, and they see this sort of big look in their eye that says, I could never do that in a million years. And then lo and behold, they do it. And when they do it, we see this so often, the kid on the back of the horse doing that maneuver, and all of a sudden, this giant smile just lights up their face. And when that happens, we know that something happened, not just physically on the back of that horse, but something touched that kid's heart. Now that kid knows, hey, I can do things that I never thought I could do.
Rawhide keeps about 60 horses, half of those quarter horses. But it takes a wide variety of horses for all the different ages, abilities, and equestrian events at the ranch, which includes learning how to drive a cart.
So we have to have horses that can take any kid, any rider, any size, at any time. So we have to have that horse that will just take really good care of those first-time riders. But then we have to have horses that can do barrel racing, jumping and even some trail. We have to have horses that can do a cross-section of everything.
We love the horses, but they're kind of our tools to get to the deeper meaning, so it's a lot of fun. We teach them without knowing they're learning.
It takes a very special group of staff members to make all this happen, like Ellen Morrissey, a longtime staffer originally from Scotland.
I believe in what we do. I think that in today's society we need a place that's here to foster kids, where they can build organic and natural relationships. Without any distractions, there's no technology, there's no phones, there's no Snapchat and Instagram, so it's back to the basics, and it's really, I like it.
We're very picky and selective over who works here. And we're very fortunate to have the people here that are here, because at the end of the day, it's really about them, what they bring to the table. It's a real blessing to be able to work with them.
Along with the horses, Rawhide is home to lots of other animals too. Chickens, pigs, goats, alpacas, and more. Animal science is a key part of the curriculum, and animal showmanship is a major part of the Friday afternoon arena program. All those animals have to be cared for every day, fed, watered, and have their pens cleaned. But that's another activity with a built-in lesson.
Again, I think it's just that sense of responsibility and personal growth. When they go and they clean the pen, they feed and water, those are things that have to be done. They're not doing it just for fun. Those are real animals who really need someone to take care of them in that way. And there's just really no substitute in the heart of that kid when they go home knowing that they took care of someone else, they helped feed and water those animals, and it was a chore that really needed to be done. That's doing work that needs to be done and doing it well. That's a good human quality. That's a good character trait.
Whatever love the campers may give to those critters, they get back even more. It's easy to forget that even kids from affluent neighborhoods can have a tough time growing up. And Coop says a little unconditional love from even one of Rawhide's beloved dogs can go a long way.
Everybody loves Lola. She's a very important part of the strategy of Rawhide Ranch, making kids feel at home. And
Pretty fun place, Mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Best.
The best?
Yep.
Along with learning to care for the animals, the campers learn to care for each other. The wide age range of the campers, 7 to 15, is part of the plan.
well, one of our core values here is to teach the kids about being in a caring community. It's more difficult to do that if everybody's the exact same age. And so there's a continuum of starting with the kids at 7 years old, going to camp with 15-year-olds, where new kids are sort of shepherded by the older kids are shepherded by the younger staff are shepherded by the older staff. It's really what a community is supposed to be, a real, working, caring community. So we really like it that the younger kids come with the older kids, and that relationship with the younger kids and the older kids, that's just as important for both. The older kids really need to learn what it is to help someone younger along the way, so we put them, the older, more accomplished kids, we put them in with the beginning kids riding class and some of their experiences, so they can say, hey, I was just like you, and then I learned this, and now I have this experience and this confidence, and you're gonna be like me too.
The program isn't much different than the one Clarence Chown and his wife Mary Jean created when they founded Rawhide back in the 1960s, naming the ranch after a popular TV Western of the era. While not a Christian camp per se, Mr. C and Mother Mick, as they were affectionately known, wanted to share their faith and love for kids. But they also wanted to introduce a set of values to a generation growing up watching TV on a couch. There's none of that at Rawhide, and just like 50 years ago, you'll never see a cell phone, iPad, or laptop at Rawhide, which perhaps, surprisingly, the kids willingly agreed to do without. But it doesn't take long for them to get immersed in their new world.
They're just busy and active. I just can't, as I see these kids and the smiles on their faces and the deep I think learning that's going on here, I just have a sense that this is how it's supposed to be. I think this is what it has meant to been all along. And some of these kids are finding that here, even if it's just for a week of their life. They find it and they love it.
Well, I just love being with horses and all the animals.
I love the people here, the horses, and just like all the fun things we do here and stuff. I just love it.
All it takes is a couple of hours here to know what a special place this is. One that both campers and their parents have been falling in love with for generations.
I came here 40 years ago.
You did?
For my first time.
Wow.
Yep, but I slept in that covered wagon over there one year. Slept at the fort. It's exactly the same.
Really?
I was pretty much in tears today. It was really, really memorable.
I really like the belting and the riding.
Yeah? Want to come back?
Yeah.
That our flag was still there.
Rawhide's core values are known as CHIRP. That's short for caring, hard work, integrity, respect, and personal growth. Even in these divided times, who can argue with that? And where better to learn those timeless values than horseback in an Old West town known as Rawhide Ranch.
We all see everything that's here as a tool making a difference in kids' lives.